with us. Much appreciated. We have Josh Smeltzer, who's here. Josh is a member of the chapter, also does a whole lot of fishing, both cold water and warm water. Owns Draft Design House, and he's out in his backyard and willing to talk with us a little bit about two tips, a tie and a tune. So Josh, thanks for being here with us.
Yeah, absolutely, Tom. Thanks for having me today. This is fun.
Yeah, great. Appreciate it. So the idea is, just that we pick the brains of some people who are local and have some ideas about fly fishing and so on. We'll talk about two tips. We'll talk about a fly that you like, and then we'll talk about some music you've been listening to, and we'll try to do it all in 10-ish minutes or so. If we go a little long, that's okay too. But why don't we just jump right in? What are a couple tips that you would advise for people who are fishing around this area?
Sure. So the first thing I want to touch base on is fish photography. Okay. I think it's one of the most important things you can do correctly on the river, and especially if you hook into a really big fish, or if it's a fish of a lifetime, you want to make sure you get a really good photo. And now a lot of people, this is your standard phone, they're going to stand up and they're going to look at their phone like this, and they're going to take the shot. That's, that works. That's the conservative approach, but it's not the coolest of photos, and you really want to make sure you capture everything. So a couple tricks here is, if you are just going to do this and you feel comfortable doing that, make sure you tap on the fish's face to make sure that's in focus.
Yeah, good point.
Because how many times have we seen an out of focus amazing fish picture, right?
Right.
And all of your buddies give you crap. So make sure, the fish is in focus, or if you want to get the person's face in focus, those are the two most important things to get in focus. Second option is, see these cameras here? They're offset on your phone.
Right.
Try taking different angles. So if you want to get like a really cool shot, spin your phone upside down and put the camera right above the water and shoot up at the fish. It'll make it look pretty heroic and give you kind of a neat shot. Or just try to spin it around, put the camera this way looking up. Try to tilt the fish in different directions and things like that. So that's tip number one.
Nice. Hey, Josh, when you fish, do you take your camera, do you take your phone, do you put it in like a pouch or a plastic case or anything, or do you just hope you don't drop it when you got it out fumbling around?
Yeah, I usually put it right in like my little kangaroo pouch on my waders, so it's easily accessible when the time comes and I need it.
Yeah.
And that's another good point. Maybe take some practice shots before you get on the river so you're comfortable with your camera or your buddy's phone or whatever like that.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Good one.
Second tip, I know a lot of people are into shanks, tying with shanks these days. So we don't have a fly shop in Eau Claire. So the closest thing is Michael's and Fleet Farm. Fleet Farm sells these really cool AFW wires.
Yeah.
So they come in, at Fleet Farm, they come in the 124 pound and the 174 pound. Both are good for like trout patterns, smallmouth patterns. You can get away with some musky stuff with these. And then if you go into the musky section, they have this stuff.
Oh, sure.
These are just pre-made shanks for making lures, but you can chop these down, bend them to whatever you want. These are like $2 a package, and this whole thing is like, what, $4? So you're just saving loads of money by building your own shanks. And all you need to do, you just need a couple tools. You just need ring pliers.
Yep.
And then needle nose pliers or a good wire clippers or something like that.
Yeah. So that AFW, that's just a thinner diameter. Is that right?
Correct. Yep.
Yep.
You can order it online all the way up to like 400 pound. And they make like the stainless steel or the camo color. But this is what I use for a lot of my shanks. I caught my 50-inch muskie on fly built with these 174 pound shanks, so they're not going to fail.
Right. And what, so that comes wrapped up. So, I mean, you'd go through a whole lot of wire before you'd be done with that pack, right?
Exactly. And a little baggie of shanks from Flyman is what, like $7?
Right.
Yeah.
Huh. And so Fleet Farm, and where'd you say you find those at? Is it just Fleet Farm that you can find those at?
Yep. Go to Fleet Farm, and they sell that specific stainless steel wire. And then if you go to Michael's, they have this stuff called Beadalon, which is kind of the knockoff version of the AFW wire. So this is good for making like trout streamers and stuff like that too. Or if you want a little bit more pizzazz in your tail.
Nice.
That works as well. Yep.
Nice. Michael's and Fleet Farm.
Yep.
Perfect.
Check them out.
Perfect. Nice. All right. So there you go. 2 tips. Use that wire, tie a good shank, catch a 50-inch muskie, use the camera the way that you're talking about. Good idea.
Yep.
Real good ideas. Okay. So let's talk about a tie. So I got 2 tips. Let's talk about a tie. What's a fly or a pattern or something that you have or think about or want to chat about?
My go-to pattern is the Game Changer fly. I know that's kind of seen some more popularity in the past couple of years. It started off with more of a trout smallmouth pattern, and now guys like Tony Sandrome and some other guys out there are kind of scaling it up for more of the Esox realm. But I just like the way that the articulation's in there. It's really fishy. You can put different head styles on it. You can try a Buford. You can try a Deceiver style head. There's no wrong answers. And you can tie as many shanks in there as you want. You can tie them super short or super long and just kind of experiment and see how that fly reacts. But it catches current seams really, really good, and it's a very natural looking fly.
So do you think it's the design of it that makes it real fishy, or is it the materials, or just the combination of everything that makes it that effective?
I would say so, yeah. A lot of guys tie it, if you're tying it in the musky kind of scale or the musky realm, you're using bucktail and stuff like that. But you can incorporate different synthetics and whatnot. And that thing, it's you can put a giant head on the front of it, so that whole back articulated tail, when the head gets a bunch of friction after you strip it, that whole tail is going to crumble on itself and show that side profile.
Nice.
So that's a really good trigger for those big predator fish.
Right. Nice. And for those that know you, and for those that don't, you tend to tie bigger flies than smaller flies, right?
Correct. Yep. Yeah. I have one of my hilarious flies right here. This is called the Cat. We throw this, we haven't caught a fish on it yet, but hopefully this fall we're going to get something. Look at the ears on that.
I think you had that at one of the tying events or something that I saw, and I think that was before I even knew anything about you. I'm like, holy smokes, this guy's something else. That's great.
Yeah, we'll see. But this tail is essentially a Game Changer tail, and then the whole body is a bunch of shanks and stuff like that. So this is a very large example of a game changer. But overall, I just like the articulation and kind of the functionality of that.
Right. Yeah, that's a great idea. That's a great point. The Game Changer. Yeah, that's a good one. Good one. Okay, so we did 2 tips. We did a tie. How about a tune? What are you listening to these days?
Oh, man, this guy named Gary Clark Jr., he's like a blues, really dirty blues rock guitarist. There's a song called Come Together, which is a Beatles cover.
Nice.
I highly recommend everyone checking it out. It'll get you jazzed up to tie some flies.
Nice. So is that your that's your go-to fly tying music, that you put that on and listen a little bit?
Yep, it's very soothing. I listen to it when I get jacked up while we're doing the shuttles on the river, and I'll sit down with like a nice bourbon and tie some sweet Game Changers.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome. It's tough to do a good Beatles cover too, so that makes for a even better tune.
Oh yeah. Yep.
That's great. So before we let you go here on this, so in terms of a little bit about you, so you do a lot of warm water and big game fish. You trout fish as well. You're on the river a lot. Talk to us a little bit about what you do, the podcast, what you do for work, and your designs and things like that.
Yeah, so my formal training is as a graphic designer. I currently co-own and operate a creative agency called Draft Design House in downtown Eau Claire. We do all sorts of cool stuff like website, logo development, etc. My fishing endeavors right now are, like you said, Tom, my buddy Steve Weiser and I, who's a local guide for Eau Claire anglers here, we launched a podcast this past year called Fly Strung. So we're hoping to kick that back up once kind of the stay-at-home order might dissolve a little bit throughout the summer. But, yeah, that's an exciting avenue. And then I'm about to launch my website called bambamflyguy.com.
Nice.
And,
BamBamFlyGuy.com.
Correct. Yep. And you can find all sorts of cool stickers there. Everything from trout to muskies to, oh yeah, Tom's got his right there.
Such as this great one I got on here. Got that one the other day. Yeah, that's awesome.
And yeah, there's a couple stickers that'll be featured in Post Fly's monthly subscription box next month. So
no kidding. How'd you get into that?
I tagged them in a photo one day on Instagram, and they kind of like the sticker design, and they're like, hey, would you mind doing 3 designs for us? So I'll be the featured artist on their June subscription box.
Hey, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I know you do great things for the chapter, fly tying nights, for getting people familiar with it from beginners to real advanced. And that's really been fantastic. Podcast is Fly Strung, correct?
Yep.
And you got what? You got 4 or 5 episodes out already. Correct.
Yep. 4 episodes out. If you go to flystrung.com, you can learn more about it, see all the episodes, or we're on Spotify or iHeartRadio, Apple iTunes, things like that.
All over. And it's Draft Design House as well.
Correct. Yep. You got it.
Perfect. All right. Hey, thanks, Josh. Appreciate it. Thanks for being on.
Yeah, you're welcome. Good luck with everything. Stay safe, Tom. Thank you.
Hey, thanks. Appreciate it.